Hello and welcome to Adventurous Way. I'm Diana.
And I'm Matt, and we're here today to say a massive happy holidays to all of our viewers across the world.
We also thought we would use this opportunity to look back at the crazy year of 2020.
That's right, it's definitely been an unusual year, but we've managed to pack a lot in, and we really learned a few things as well as we've been going along. The year started in a somewhat familiar place in Arizona. We were down near Quartzsite in the Arizona desert, and we had just been to the Escapers New Year's Eve event that we'd been to before. And then we headed up to Lake Havasu City to the annual bash. We'd been to the annual bash before, but this time was a little bit special because I had been invited to give a presentation all about RV solar and the basics of RV electrical systems. We also filmed that presentation, so if you haven't seen it already, be sure to check that out on YouTube. We'll leave a link in the description below. After the annual bash, we headed back down to Quartzsite and we hung out with our friend Courtney, who is the creator of the Ultimate Montana, and we spent some time with her and the staff from Keystone taking some photos of this amazing RV that she had built.
Then in February, we headed to Tucson, where we were invited to attend industry event Dometic in the Desert. And that was really interesting to meet people in the RV industry and other full-time RVers that were also invited there. And Matt also gave a presentation there as well.
Yeah, there I was presenting on the impacts of home automation and some of the Internet of Things kind of developments that are happening on the RV industry. And we've also got a lot of content on our blog all about our home automation system in the RV. So if you haven't seen that already, do be sure to check out our website. We've got some pretty cool stuff that we're working on in the RV. Speaking of Dometic, we've been working with Dometic for a while now to consult with them and help provide the voice of a customer. We are able to share our opinions as full-time RVers along with some other people in the RV community to really help Dometic to build better and better products that really work for us as RVers. So it was very exciting to have the opportunity to present at their conference and share more of our opinions and more of our ideas with an even broader audience.
In March, we headed back west with the intention to go to California. We stopped by Quartzsite, and there we actually met up with some of my friends from Bay Area. That was really good to catch up with them. And then the pandemic hit, and that changed our plans. So we decided not to go to California and stay around Quartzsite area. So we hunkered down, and as we didn't have anything else to do, I finally was able to work through my video backlog. At that point, we were publishing our videos like 9 months after they had been filmed. And now finally, I was able to get through that backlog. And now we are publishing this pretty much real time.
And while Diana was working on the videos, I was hard at work on our website, and we were able to launch a load of new changes to the website, which was really exciting. So that was a good use of time. We felt overall that being in the desert was a great place to be, and we stayed there all the way through most of April as well. I remember when the social distancing first came in and people were talking about staying 6 feet away from other people. We were hundreds of feet away from our nearest neighbours. We were really on our own in the middle of the desert, and it was a fantastic place to be at that point in time. However, we knew that it was going to get hot, really, really hot come summer. And even in April, the temperatures were already up into the 80s and 90s. It was getting pretty toasty. So towards the end of April, we decided to make the journey north, back to see our friend Courtney, but this time up at her shop in Boise, Idaho. Courtney runs a business renovating RVs, and she had very, very kindly offered us the opportunity to go and stay with her outside her shop up in Idaho.
We had been thinking about doing our own RV remodel for a while, and we found ourselves in lockdown in May and outside a shop. So we thought this would be a perfect opportunity to start planning our own RV remodel.
That's right. So in May, we spent the time planning it so that in June, we could really begin our own remodel. And it was a pretty extensive remodel. If you haven't seen the videos already on that, be sure to check those out as well. We really gutted things in here in the dinette. We repainted all of the walls, we decorated the kitchen and the bathroom, and we've been really pleased with that. It was a lot of work.
I think it took a lot more than we thought it would.
It really did. But having access to all of those tools and the painting booths and everything else at Courtney's shop was just the perfect opportunity to do it. We're also going to do a video coming up soon where we're going to look back on how the remodel has fared 6 months on in full-time living. Spoiler alert, we love this remodel, but there are a few things that we did learn from the experience that we would like to share.
As the weather was warming up, we decided to head north yet again and stay at our friend's place in eastern Washington. Along the way, we stopped by Outdoors RV Factory and showed off our remodel to the product team.
I think they really liked it, and although we couldn't get them to commit to any of the changes that we've made, I think maybe we gave them some inspiration, so I think that was a good stop on our journey. When we did make it to Washington, one of the things that we had lined up was to help our friends with a big electrical and solar upgrade on their Airstream. We've done a big electrical and solar upgrade on our RV, and it's been fantastic. It's really what's allowed us to dry camp and boondock for the last couple of years on the road. And we were going to do something similar to help our friends as well. The complication? We were completely off-grid at their property. We had no electricity there at all, so we had to do the entire upgrade only using the solar and the batteries and things that we already had. It came out really, really well, and their system got a huge upgrade with the new kit that we put on, including 6 lithium batteries, a big inverter, and a load more solar panels on the roof. So that was, I think, a pretty cool project to work on. But while we were there, the area started suffering from wildfires, and some of those got pretty close to us. There were a few days we woke up and it was really, really smoky. And in fact, a couple of times we even hooked up the truck and the trailer ready to make a quick exit in the night if we needed to. So that was a pretty tense way to spend July and August.
But also it was nice that it was kind of remote, and I was able to go for runs and not interact with any person at all. Actually, one of my goals for 2020 was to run a 10K distance, and I did that. Over the whole year, I kept up with my running, sometimes more frequently, sometimes less. But by the August, I ran a 10K, and I actually ran the longest distance I ever had run, which was 9 miles. So I'm pretty proud of myself for achieving that goal of 2020.
End of August though, it was time to leave Washington behind. We'd had these plans from long before COVID hit that we wanted to spend the fall and winter over in New England. We wanted to see the full colours, and then we wanted to spend the winter in the area to do some skiing. Not the usual thing for RVers to do in winter, but we felt that we were up to the challenge. With the situation with COVID, it obviously cast a lot of doubt on a lot of plans, and all our plans to date that year had changed. But we felt that we could still do this part of the plan. So at the end of August, we hit the road once again, and we drove all the way from Washington to New York State in just 8 days.
And then in New York, we quarantined for 2 weeks at our friend's property. And then after the quarantine, then we were able to also hang out with them for a little while. And that was really nice too. These are my long time friends that used to live in California and then moved to New York. And then after that, we headed north to see the fall colors in New Hampshire.
They were amazing. We timed it so that we were there in sort of October time, and it was just stunning. If you haven't seen some of our videos all about the fall colors, do check those out. We had pretty high expectations going into it based on what we'd seen and heard, but it still exceeded our expectations in every way. I am so glad we found the time and the opportunity to get out there. Which put us in New Hampshire and Vermont, kind of in the October-November timeline. And that's when we really started looking for some land in the area. So if you haven't seen the video already about our plans to build a home base, do be sure to check that out. But the New England area, particularly New Hampshire and Vermont, is an area that we're strongly considering buying some land to build a house. So we decided to start looking at some parcels of land for sale.
And that idea came kind of earlier in the year. To be clear, we always thought we would have home base, but the COVID situation, I guess, accelerated a little bit. So we did kind of start looking in Idaho and in Washington as well. And
in fact, the entire time we've been on the road, we've always been kind of looking for places that we might one day call home. And like you say, COVID, it's not the cause of us doing the home base, but it did accelerate those plans somewhat. And although I think we've learned since being on the road in the RV that we can be very independent in the RV. Like when COVID first hit and we were in Arizona, we felt incredibly safe because we had everything we needed. We were completely self-sufficient and we were off-grid. We were miles away from any kind of civilization. But at the same time, you're also somewhat vulnerable. You're somewhat dependent on having somewhere to put your RV. And some of our friends, they managed to go the entire year, just really dry camping and boondocking, much as they had been before, and they absolutely managed to do that. We didn't feel quite as comfortable doing that, and that's why we sought out some friends with land to stay with them, just so that we had somewhere that we knew we could stay and be safe. But it did kind of highlight to us that if we had somewhere like that of our own, that would have been a good comfort blanket, I think, at that point in time. But like you say, that's something that we'd been thinking of long term anyway, and this just really accelerated those plans.
And there are a few other things that we learned. Before that, the maximum amount that we had spent boondocking was 10 days, and now we increased it to 14 days. I don't think in the very beginning when we started RVing, we would be able to boondock for 14 days straight and to manage all those resources like water and electricity and so on. But now, after 2 years of experience and kind of wanting to be able to be in one place for 2 weeks before you have to move to a different place, that was really nice. Also, we learned how to kind of manage our meal planning and food better. As I said before, we mostly did it for kind of 10 days to coincide with our 10-day kind of boondocking stints. Now we actually a couple times managed to meal plan and shop only once a month. So I think that is kind of useful skill to have, that now when we're considering where to have a home base, we're thinking of we don't have to be so close to the grocery stores. Maybe like half an hour away is okay, because we're not going to be going to the grocery store every day. Maybe once a week or every 2 weeks is totally fine.
Yeah, the whole pandemic has accelerated a load of things and we've learned a load of things. It's been actually quite positive in that regard. So coming into November, we'd finished seeing the fall colours and it was time to start thinking about where we were going to spend the winter. And so we made the journey from New Hampshire just over the border into Vermont. And that is where we are right now. So we are in situ, the RV has all its skirting on, and it is a beautiful sunny day today. We're about a week before Christmas as we film this, so hello from a week ago. It is currently 26 degrees outside, so it's pretty chilly out there. And it's going to get a lot colder tonight. The forecast has us going down to 5 degrees tonight, which will be the coldest temperature we have ever had in our RV.
And it has snowed a couple times, and every time it snows, I get very, very excited because it is very, very pretty. Unfortunately, so far it has all melted off, but we'll see what the next storm brings.
Yeah, fingers crossed. The cold weather also is accompanied by some snow as well, because we are really, really keen to get out skiing. And who knows, maybe by the time you see this video, we'll have already been out and hit the slopes.
We had big plans for 2020, and they did not materialize. But we are very, very thankful that we were able to make the most of it, and still we were able to stay safe.
But for now, we just want to say Merry Christmas, and we hope you have a fantastic time during the holidays and celebrate as best you possibly can. But be sure to join us next week, because in that video, we're going to be going through some of our plans for 2021, and we have some very exciting things coming up.
So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.